So what's going on, guys? It's Jimmy Mortgage. Let's talk about it. I'm here with the owners of 908 Athletics, located in Berkeley Heights, Westfield, and Indoor in Scotch Plains.
Correct.
I'm excited for you guys to be here today, man.
We're excited to be here.
Yeah.
We've talked about being on this podcast for a while, so thanks for having us.
So all those things that you see me doing with the lunges and the pictures and me screaming, I hate burpees, it's the responsibility of 908 Athletics, because these guys changed my life, but at the same time, they keep me in shape and they keep me grounded, and the accountability is awesome. So guys, what made you start 908 Athletics?
That's a little bit of a long story, but I guess it was me initially. I had gotten into CrossFit when I was living in New York City. I was working in the city at the time. Aaron was working at a pharmaceutical company in Bridgewater, so we kind of had our corporate jobs. And then I got into CrossFit. I really loved it. We moved out to Hoboken. There was an actual CrossFit gym. There weren't many at the time. We're talking like 2007. So there were, maybe less than 10 in the whole state at the time.
Right.
We both tried it out. I ended up joining. Aaron at the time was kind of just sticking with some running and other forms of exercise. And then I just got really into it and really passionate about it. I loved it. From a vanity standpoint, I loved the way that my body reacted to it. Beyond that, I really loved like the community and the culture that was forming in this little 800 square foot warehouse in downtown Hoboken that was like not nice, super rough around the edges. But what was happening inside those walls with all the connections people were making was really special. And at the time, I was sort of disenchanted with my job. I took a leap of faith, and Aaron encouraged me to do so. So I quit my job, and by that point, I was already coaching at CrossFit Hoboken. I had my certification. Spent the next 6 months looking for a location, and looked all over Union County, and then stumbled upon Berkeley Heights. When we first opened up, we were subleasing from a girl that had like a gymnastics facility. Okay. So that was in 2009.
Wow. Keeping you grounded, 2009 to now, right?
Yeah.
That's something else. So Aaron, you're a track star, right? You ran for Scotch Plains. Actually, we have a mutual friend, Carrie Quinn.
Oh yeah.
I posted that I somehow a picture surfaced between you and I. She was like, I know her. She ran track with me, and I also ran track for my high school. So how did you incorporate the world of running to CrossFit, right? Because you intimidated hubby, be like, yo, let's start this thing. Like, we got it going on. Like,
I mean, so Tim started doing CrossFit, and I would, I think as a female was just like a little apprehensive of strength training and weights and all that kind of stuff. And I think that Tim pushed me to try it. Okay. And he's like, try it. And of course, like the competitive side of me, like loved it. I saw progress. I got stronger, and I was just hooked.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys are models now for what 908 Athletics looks like, right? Because you started from inception, right? You started from running. You quit your corporate job. You did have a corporate job. You did mention that. You did mention that. So I want to focus on this. How was that? What sparked it just like that? I know you said I was getting my body right, but like that's a leap of faith, right? Just to quit. I'm going to start something. That's not something easy. So how did what was that like? We
kind of had two different stories, right? Mine was hey, I'm gonna leave my job, and I actually proposed to Erin in the same month that I quit my job, which was a big, she was like, really? So you're gonna leave this secure, right? Okay. Yeah, you're gonna leave this secure job and try to lock me down. But I was just so unhappy with work. I was getting up, I had to be in the city on my desk before 6:30 in the morning, and I just got to a point where I was like, I don't see the longevity in this thing. And I was young enough that I made this whole story up in my head that if I go and try to start this gym thing and it doesn't work out, I'll be 28, 29, and then I'll go back and get an MBA, and I'll redo it all over again and try to go back into the finance world. And so for me, I had made up this story in my head that, this is how it's going to play out. I had some sort of dumb confidence going into it that I was like, I'll work hard enough to make this work. But Erin wasn't involved from day one. She was helping a ton, but she still had her job through 2012, so 3 years through, and then you can tell what happened there.
Yeah, so I was working for a pharmaceutical company doing R&D at Sanofi Aventis in Bridgewater, and they had acquired Genzyme, and they were moving all the R&D headquarters up to Boston, and I was like, I'm not moving, Right. And at the time, I think, we were like 3 to 4 years into business, and it was really like Tim was doing all the management and I was helping him on the back end with a lot of things. And I'm like, I feel like we're growing. Like we definitely need more support. And I wasn't interested in going back and getting another job and what I was doing. And I was like, why not? It's a family business now at this point, you know, like we're married, you know, like let's do this together.
Let's rock out.
Yeah.
I
At least
love
give it a try together.
For sure.
Now so now you guys are also coaches and owners. Can you walk me through the like what is it like to be a landlord and also a tenant of the whole business that you guys got going on?
Yeah, so at our 2 CrossFit affiliates, 908 Athletics, we're tenants. And so we've been tenants for the last 15 years in Berkeley Heights, almost 7 years in Westfield. And just last year when we opened up Indoor Training Co. in Scotch Plains, that was our first opportunity to purchase a building and become a landlord. You know, it opened my eyes to the landlord side of things. So as a tenant for so long, you can get easily frustrated with the landlord, right? Your rent's going up each year. You feel like maybe you're getting nickeled and dimed and you're not getting enough out of these rent increases that you're paying for. Then when you get on the landlord side of things, you're like, oh, wow, you know, these things cost a lot of money to fix and to upgrade. I would say, though, the one thing on the landlord side is that Aaron and I, you know, we've always kind of lived by the mantra of like, do the right thing and do things right. So with this building purchase, knowing that, you know, some percentage of every dollar that we're investing into it, whether it be for indoor or just the building alone, is going back into our pocket because we own it, right? So we want to do the best by indoor. We want to do the best by the subtenants that we have. And then when you flip back to the tenant side of things, it almost just then makes you more frustrated with the landlord who's not doing that, right? So it's like it's two sides of the same coin, but the more the more you do one, maybe the more you get frustrated with the other. So I can say that we're really excited to have this long-term asset, right? That at some point it will be paid off and there'll be something there versus the tenant side of things in a way are starting to become cost prohibitive. 15 years in, rent has more than doubled. Small businesses, your revenue doesn't always double, right? It doesn't always move in lockstep. So as a tenant, you're just subject to whatever your landlord wants to do. And we just had 2 lease renewals in the last year. And usually leases will go up maybe 3% a year, something like that. One location went up 20% on my renewal.
20%?
And one went up 10%.
Woof.
And I can't say that he's put in any improvements, as you know, because you go to that location.
Don't worry, he won't be listening to this either.
Which adds to the frustration.
So that's So that seeing it from those sides, it's like, all right, I don't ever want to just completely squash a tenant and be like, we got to go up this much.
Right.
You want to do right by your tenants, especially one that's been with you for 14 years.
Right.
Didn't miss a payment during COVID type of thing.
Right.
But the one thing I can see is there's an end in sight of if he just keeps going this direction, obviously expenses will outpace revenue growth, and then we're gonna have to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's funny you said that, right? Do the right thing, because I know doing what I'm doing when it came to lending, the business did take a hit for a while, and you guys did right by me by keeping me in the gym, knowing that what my circumstances are. So I definitely appreciate the fact when you guys say do the right thing, because they really mean it. They do right by those who are around them, and I thank you for that.
Absolutely.
So that's the other thing I want to bring into, right? When you go to when you do CrossFit indoor, you're not just getting the workout. I love the accountability in the community. Erin, can you expand on that a little bit, on what does that community mean for you and why you wake up every morning saying, I'm going to do better by my community?
One of my favorite things about opening the gym, when Tim wanted to open it, we never thought about the whole community aspect and how these people would become like family to us.
Correct.
I think it's been really cool along all the years that people have met each other, gotten married, had babies.
Right. I see the pictures.
There's these really special bonds that are created through 908 through Endure, and it's just one of the best parts of it for me.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, to Erin's point, it's like, do you think about all the areas of your life where you have connection with other people? You've got your family, right? You've got your friends, you've got your colleagues, and then, sometimes they call the gym like your third space. You've got work, home, and then what's that third space for you? Right. At 908, we've had people, Sharon, you were just mentioned before, she's been there for 15 years, right? Like, most people don't even stay in a job for 5 to 10.
That's very true, right?
She's showing up at 6 a.m. 4 to 5 days a week for 15 years. Like, who is she seeing more than she's seeing at the gym?
Right.
Maybe her colleagues at being a teacher, but what I'm saying is the gym provides this amazing opportunity, and you can't sell someone, hey, come and make friends and human connection. But
No, you can't do that.
what you can take away from it is like, wow, this is a place where I can be myself. I don't have to be anyone other than who I want to be.
Right.
You know, I'm not being judged by a boss or anything like that. And it allows people to just form those connections. And so that community is really a group of people that have spent a lot of time together that start to become friends and hold each other accountable. And it becomes a place, I think, that people want to go at 5 a.m.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, and sometimes when we're working out, you know, they're celebrating whatever's going on, someone's birthday, anniversary, and they bring in Dunkin' Donuts. I'm like, dude, I just burned like 400 calories. Why are you adding 400 to it? But that's what it is. It's like the urge of community. Like, we want us to all be together, right?
Yeah.
And plus, you can cheat too by having a couple of that stuff.
Yeah.
Of course.
But not in front of Tim, though.
No. Balance, you know?
Balance. We all need balance.
Speaking of balance, you also have a great nutrition program, right? Can you speak to that, Tim, a little bit?
Sure. So we know that, and I think everyone knows that's in the fitness world that, you know, your nutrition is sort of your foundational level.
Right.
But I think for most people, it's much easier just to show up to the gym every day and work out and then hope that things fall in line versus really dial in the nutrition and really watch what they're eating on a daily basis, probably especially here in America, where there is Dunkin' Donuts every other day for someone's birthday.
Right.
But it's
5
something
a.m.
it's something that we felt we wanted to build out because people could see results way faster.
Right.
You know, it's tough to outwork a bad diet, especially if you're only getting to the gym 3 times a week for 1 hour, right? There's a lot of other hours in the week where you can mess that up.
Definitely.
But we wanted to be able to have more of a holistic approach to fitness, that it's not just, you know, come in and take a class. There is someone here that can either run a challenge for a group where you have some accountability and there's some gamification, or you've got someone that's going to do one-on-one hand-holding with you. You're in constant contact with them. They'll give you your macronutrient prescription. They'll work with you because that's what most people need. Most people know what to do, but they need that little kick in the butt to kind of do it on a daily basis, and for someone to check in and be like, hey, Jimmy, what'd you eat today? Why don't you tell me what you eat?
Right,
and you're
right.
like, I don't want to have to tell them that I ate.
Mostly I'm actually drinking, right? I'm not promoting it, but I'm just saying. the world that we live in sometimes, I mean,
The
drinking
social
does add,
aspect,
the
yeah.
social
Yeah,
aspect
yeah.
does add calories, and
Yeah.
that's a no-no if you want to be like these two over here, right?
But you've made, I mean, Jimmy, how much of weight have you lost since
40 pounds.
All right. So,
Yeah, I was big back.
so
Yeah, it was like, I was like, what's going on? I was moving the seat back more. The belt wasn't making any sense. And you guys help cultivate my mindset of being happy, and where I'm at, I can still do whatever I want. Because
but also nutrition was part of that for you too, right?
Yes, it
I
was.
mean,
Yeah.
losing 40 pounds, you got into, that's where the gym is great. It builds the accountability, and then it's like, for most people, the gym comes first, and then they want to use the nutrition to support this new habit. And they also don't want to say, hey, I'm going to the gym 5 days a week. I don't want to just go eat crap and make myself feel like crap. Now I want to start thinking about, can I improve my workouts through eating better, right? And then it's sort of like this, it's a good cycle, right? Not a vicious cycle, it's a good cycle.
Speaking of cycle, from where CrossFit started, where people, you know, some felt like you had to be a physique to even join CrossFit and then maintain that. How has that changed from the time you guys started to now? Because now I see women pregnant going into CrossFit, right?
Yeah.
Then back then it was like, I don't know if it was, I don't know if it's true or not, but back then a lot were not coming in, but now more are coming in, you know, and that's changed a tad bit. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think that CrossFit's still, like the word CrossFit is just can be very intimidating for people. But I think over the last few years, especially like strength training for women has become much more of a focus and a want for women, which has been great, you know.
Right.
But how do you think that we've changed?
So, I mean, I think the CrossFit landscape has changed in the sense that I think from an outsider's perspective, they see the CrossFit Games and they see it as being a sport.
Right.
And they see it as like, you can't do it unless you look like those people on TV. And maybe even some of those body types on TV are the style of body type that some people don't want.
Right.
You know, they'll look at it, specifically women will look at it and say, oh, it is going to make you bulky like that. And they don't understand that you don't get to just accidentally be bulky and
No.
jacked and shredded, right?
No,
That
no.
is like every waking moment practicing that.
Yeah.
We've morphed in a way where when I came into it at 25, 26, I loved the sports side of it and the competition side of it.
Which you still have.
Which, yes, we still
Right.
have. Now being almost 42, I've seen clients that joined us in their late 30s now be in their early 50s, and seeing that maybe some of their needs and wants have changed from a training perspective.
Right.
So I think we've tried to look at it from the standpoint that it's not just about sport and competition, that it is this local community fitness-based gym that can support those that want to do athletic endeavors in their 20s and 30s.
Right.
But also those moms and dads that are in their 50s that are just serious about fitness, right? They're not going out to win something, but they're really intent on keeping their bodies in like tip-top shape, right? Being kind of as strong as they want to be, as cardiovascularly fit as they want to be. And
Right.
so I think what you find in the gym is it's less about the competitive sports side, but it is more about like, we're all serious about our fitness, right? We all want to do well. We all want to look really good.
Right.
And so I think CrossFit for us has morphed from sport to longevity, but still the undertone of like, hey, we want to be strong and we want to look good.
I've seen it all, right? I've seen all different facets walk through the gym, and I'm like, wow, the change is so different. Because you're right, because in the beginning, when the wife recommended me to go to CrossFit, I was like, okay, I don't look like that. And then where the gym was located, I'm like, I ain't going down that block.
It's a little sketchy.
Yeah. I was like, no, not today. And then she was like, no, they're serious. I was like, nah, man, yo, I need to see a little bit more houses, some lights, right? And they were like, no, it's down this block. And honestly, I made the push and I got there. And because of that, I'm here today. But to your point, right? When I first saw it, I'm like, nah, I'm like, what am I doing this? Like, I look nothing like that. But now that I'm in it, I'm like, you don't have to look a certain
No.
way. You just have to feel comfortable about you and your body, and you do,
Absolutely.
and you make the best of it.
And how old are you, Jimmy?
Old enough. I'm in the 70s. I'm not giving up my numbers like that, man. I'm a 70s baby.
All right, but listen. So when we opened up, you're not in your 70s. I was like, damn, okay. You know, when we opened up, we were probably average age was probably somewhere in the 30s.
Right.
Our average age has only gone up.
Right.
We don't have 20-year-olds knocking down our door to come try out CrossFit. I don't know if it's because the preconceived notion of CrossFit or the whole group fitness landscape has changed with things like Orange Theory and Alpha Fit Club that maybe cater to a younger audience. But, you know, people think they're going to walk into our gym and it's going to be a bunch of like ex-D1 college athletes in their 20s, half naked doing backflips.
Right.
You walk in and it's a bunch of people in their 40s and 50s
Right.
who are moms and dads who have full-time jobs, just looking to connect and get as fit as they can be, right? And
Right.
so I think it has changed from that standpoint. Our average demographic, right, has gone up in age.
Which goes to my point too. How are you guys? What makes you? You're answering the question, but I'll rephrase it this way. How do you stay different from those who have like a online gym, right, or a Lifetime gym that's near us? And how do you stand out to why people should continue to be part of the 908 athletics family?
I think there's a couple different types of gyms out there. I think when you pay for Lifetime, you're paying for access or amenities, right? And so as a mom and pop gym, we can't nearly match those amenities or have nearly the size of a gym they have. But what we can offer is we can offer the coaching side of things. So meaning, you know, you're going to get a personalized experience, even though it's in a group setting at a, you know, what I think is a relatively affordable rate. I think we're offering that supportive and motivating community that otherwise is missed when you walk into just a big global gym and you feel like everyone's got their phone out filming themselves and you're intimidated. And so I think we can offer a couple of things that you really can only offer when you are on that smaller scale, right? And I think people sometimes miss that. They see CrossFit and they think CrossFit is the same everywhere you go. So if they've had a bad experience one place, that means it's going to be a bad experience the other place. The way I like to liken it is to like pizza, right? 10 pizza shops in one town. They all make pizza.
Yeah.
Some make it terribly.
Right.
Some make it great. The places that make it terribly, still some people like that. The
Right.
places that make it great, some
That is
people don't
true.
like that.
I
So,
didn't think of it that way, but
you know,
right,
but that's
yeah.
all it is. We're
Right.
getting to use the CrossFit word, but the way we make the sauce and the dough inside of our walls is unique to the next gym. Doesn't mean it's better or worse, but I think it's working for us.
I love it. So fundamental, I love, you know, I love everything that comes with it. So when you guys are you mentioned coachings. First of all, we love our coaches in the 908 Athletics family. We love you guys, especially Jake.
Oh, Jake.
Yeah. And it was funny. I was speaking to Alan. I was like, I'm going to have these guys on today. He was like, well, why do you do this to me? Like, what's the pain like? And he's like, well, you did sign the waivers, so all comes with it, right?
Yep,
so
exactly.
That's cool. So you guys also have a 7-day pass. Is that through Endure, right?
We do two different promotions. So for 908 Athletics, we do $7 for 7 days, and Endure is $10 for 10 days. Really, really similar. Both of the promotions have the same premise behind them,
Right.
because the workouts vary. As you know, workouts vary on a day-to-day
Right.
basis. Some days the workout's 10 minutes long, some days it's 40 minutes long.
Right.
Some days it's all body weight, some days it's all weightlifting, some days it's just cardio, some days it's more weightlifting. So we want people to come in and get the experience of the variability of the workouts, not just to feel like, oh, it's just random that they're doing. No, we want you to feel like, you know, not every workout is going to be your favorite workout. You know that.
Right.
Most workouts, I'm like, I don't want to do it. But you always feel good after.
Right.
And so we want them to kind of come in, experience the different styles of the workouts, experience different coaches, and then they can say, honestly, okay, I came to 5 classes. It wasn't really for me. It's hard to take one class of anything and say it's not for me. So
makes sense.
the idea is just to give people, and so Endure similarly, workouts vary from day to day. Some days it's really short intervals. Some days it's longer, steady state. So if you came in and we were rowing for 30 minutes and you went home, you might be like, I'm never doing that again,
yeah,
right?
yeah, right.
But that's it's a workout out of hundreds, if not thousands, right? So the idea is just to give people enough of a dose to make an educated decision.
Yeah.
So outside of 908 Athletics, what are some of the things you guys like to do as far as traveling? Do you have a particular country you like to visit? Or a particular state? And you guys, they do travel too, by the way, right?
We
You guys
try.
get it in.
More
We
before the
try.
kids, but
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
And you can,
I mean, we're beach people.
Beach people,
for
okay.
sure.
Okay.
I think eventually we want to get back to snowboarding out west.
Okay.
I feel like that's like a hobby that we used to have, but then you know you have kids and
that's a harder trip
yeah.
with kids right now.
So we just took them skiing for the first time like 2 weekends ago. So we're like we need to get them up to speed so we
Okay.
can take that family
Right.
trip
Yeah.
together. But we're beach people for sure.
Yeah. We've traveled a lot to like Central and South America.
Yeah.
Right.
Mostly because we want to go somewhere warm.
Yeah.
My bucket
It's
list
not too
items are
far.
like South Africa, New Zealand, but I don't know. How do you not take your kids? But also, how would you take your kids there?
No, when they get older, I'm leaving these bad boys like
Yeah,
you're on your
yeah.
own, because it's like you want to enjoy it, but at the same time, there's guilt. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
there is guilt, but are you really enjoying vacation sometimes when you take your kids? Is it
It's an
really
expensive
considered-
babysitting trip.
Not yet, too much.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not
My
with
kids
a
are too
9-year-old,
young.
almost 7-year-old.
No,
Yeah,
it
we're
gets
getting there though.
no,
It's
yeah.
starting.
I'm-
But it's hard. It's work.
It
you know,
is.
it's a
It
trip
is.
instead
It
of a
is.
vacation,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's
So sometimes it's easier to just
but-
go down the shore and just like call it a
Yeah,
day, go to
yeah.
the beach, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you had to name one favorite restaurant, each of you, what's your favorite restaurant in the state of New Jersey?
In the state of New Jersey.
Yeah, because remember, you start from Hoboken to
Wow,
where
you
at
are
right now.
throwing
Yeah,
a wrench in there.
I'll give
for
you
me.
throw 2 names.
All right. 2 names.
Two names.
You tell me your favorite restaurant.
I'm not gonna do that. No, it's about you, right?
Yeah,
now,
because
Tim.
you don't want to. Well, I would say.
Okay,
at
what's your
least-
favorite cuisine? All right, we'll start there, right? We don't have to.
That's easier.
That's easier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is, but also
I
it's
guess.
impossible. I think so. Here's the deal: one of our favorite things to do
Mm-hmm.
is to go out and get a drink and get food, and go to as many new restaurants as we
Yeah.
can. So we're constantly like, is there a new place? Is there a new place? Is there a new place? So we're always exploring new places. I think like, local to Berkeley Heights, I feel like Lupa is
Yeah,
fantastic.
Lupa-
I was about to
and
say the
Berkeley
same thing.
Heights.
Lupa makes
I mean,
Lupa's
I
our
feel like
favorite.
good.
Lupa, you're
Yeah.
getting Jersey City / New York City quality food in a
Right.
suburb town. Not to say there's not other great restaurants.
Yeah.
Just I think Lupa's done a fantastic job with their menu.
And they have good cocktails too,
And they
which
do
I
have
think
good
is
cocktails,
pretty
which is hard to come by.
Yeah, I like Lupa, and I was in Westfield the other day. One of the best, not the best, but one of the restaurants I'm favorite to right now is Okai, the sushi
Yeah,
restaurant.
we love
yeah.
it. Yeah,
I
that's
was-
probably
yeah.
our favorite spot to go
Yeah,
to in
I
Westfield.
was like,
yeah.
oh, my body was like, this is really good. I'm like, and I'm not a sushi person like
Yeah.
that, but when I have it, I want to make sure I get it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The
absolutely.
flavors and the
Yep.
drinks and the ambiance. Someone was telling me they just went into renovations, right?
They
changed-
they renovated. They were
Yeah.
on a different side of a street in Westfield, and they renovated it. And now it's much more like a New York City chic
Right,
feel.
right, right.
The bars there is always jammed. They make a good cocktail. The food's good. So Akai is when we're down in Westfield, we go there a lot. And then Loop is one of our favorites up in Berkeley Heights.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about-
I'm putting
No,
you on
that-
blast.
I mean,
I'm putting you on blast.
I don't know that. I mean, I said the same thing.
She goes with me.
Okay.
No, I think. I mean, down the shore, we used to always love the Block. We haven't been there in a long time.
Yeah, the Butcher's
but,
Block in Long
'cause
Branch.
It's a
That's a
drive,
good spot.
but that's a good spot. Yeah.
Down the shore, my favorite spot is chicken on the egg. So unhealthy, but
Oh,
it's
that's
so
down in
freaking
LBI?
it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good,
Yeah.
so good. That's cool, man. Well, again, guys, thank you so much for coming on Let's Talk About It podcast. So now people need to know where to find you. So can you guys push that information out there?
Sure. Our website is www.908athletics.com. That has both of our locations there. Our other gym, Endure Training Co., is just that, www.endure trainingco.com.
Yeah.
And then it's the same on Instagram. So we've got 908 Athletics and Endure Training Co.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for coming on Let's Talk About It podcast. I'm on your favorite streaming platform, whether it be Apple, Spotify, blah, blah, blah. Just type in Let's Talk About It. Jimmy Mortgage, I'm there. Thank you guys again.
Thank you again for the opportunity to be on
Thanks,
this.
Jimmy.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. Thank you.